A lot of people are going to hate me for this one, but leveling Warframes in 2021 in Railjack. Why are people going to hate that? Because people do not like Railjack. I'm sorry, but this has to be said. Well, it's true. It is 110% true. Why? Look at the names to the right. You will notice at least one of them is sitting at the exit, but the shared affinity is still working. More importantly is the fact that they are 425 meters away from me. In Railjack, shared affinity is map-wide, sorry. Which is great for everything. There is no running around trying to be close to other players, playing defense missions, trying to play on small maps. I have no power left and I have no melee weapon. I need a bigger, more powerful weapon, thank you. Oh yes, this thing was level 20 when we came in here. And yeah, the affinity is shared map wide, including space. In space, it also shares everywhere. And now I'm going to have to run all that distance to join them once you finish scanning him. Goodbye. Whee! Who, where, why, and what, you may wonder? Well, if I go to... and I can't. That pistol that was level 30 is now level 38. It's almost completely maxed. I don't think I need another former in this. I do believe I have the 5 in there. No, it was maxed, so it would have gone 40. Which means, instead of... I should do the frame here. I did not need a 4th former in Ureli. I definitely needed to do those two, which are now on their last former, but I did not need to put a former on Ureli. The main reason this is becoming the place to actually level anything comes down to the fact that, well, Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, I absolutely love it for leveling weapons. It will be my go-to to level weapons until they ruin it, which will one day probably happen. But you cannot level a Warframe there. This is where going to Railjack comes in so useful. Obviously, I would have loved it if the extermination mission was here so I can farm for the hollow keys at the same time, but it's not. What we do have, though, is a survival mission, though you will need to take a relic with you. But it doesn't have to be a Void Fisher mission. They're just kind of an added bonus. And again, the main reason for this is the shared affinity is map-wide. 4th place is still loading in. There they go. And boom! Shared affinity across everybody, everywhere. So somebody decides to go do one mission, one objective, you will still receive affinity for it. Though, the same thing, and I will mention this constantly forever, will account here. Do not take in 3 different things to level up at the same time because you will level up slower. If you are leveling a Warframe, take weapons that are already maxed so the shared affinity will concentrate on one item. I am doing this here because this is basically... well, you're being revived, so that works. Yeah. It's better to take one thing where the shared affinity will concentrate on one thing rather than you having to slowly level with 3 things. Why survival missions as well, you may ask? Well, that is because it depends upon what people are looking for as to what you may be able to do here. 1 minute 20 in and Ureli is already level 7 and this gun is already at level 10. And more importantly is, well, players don't always in survival group up. As you can see, there's one down there. The other 2 that were next to me have all kind of ran off and separated because on survival missions, people don't do what is probably best to do, which is stick together so all the enemies spawn in one place and then you can, as a team, take them out more effectively. People find their own spots and they will sit down there and take them out. Which, I'll admit, since coming in, this is the entrance way right here, by the way, I have sat at this one door here, shooting anything that comes through it, because they were spawning on the other side. Now, they are not spawning on the other side, because they have moved around. That's where the shared affinity comes into play. With the shared affinity, people can run off, do whatever they want. You may have tried to level stuff up in survival missions before and gotten really annoyed with the fact that nobody is staying anywhere near anybody else. So yeah, this shared affinity doesn't work. The shared affinity is one of the best ways to level other stuff up in the background. Background being the fact that this secondary, I've used it a couple times, but it is still gaining affinity because of shared affinity. It's just kind of how it works. Also, you should also always keep your secondary fully loaded. That comes into play when you need to reload your primary, but that's not what we're on about here. And even more important is the fact that every resource laying on the map is being picked up by everybody else, including you, for them. And that means that, well, you can see the credits. There's Endo without picking Endo up. There's some carbides without picking up the carbides. When other people pick stuff up, there's 2 tellurium, you will also receive it. But of course that does mean you actually have to go and pick up the items. I did it again on the same wall. But we don't want that gun anymore. But I'm up here because I want to crouch and press P so we can come in and go. As you can see, Urelli almost completely maxed after 14 minutes. Upon the end of that, you will see they've gone from 0 to what is basically max rank for a level 40 primary. In 20 minutes, maxed out. And remember, this will take less time if you take one. If I was just doing Urelli, that would have been done ages ago. Same if I was just doing one of the Tenet weapons. That is the worst case scenario right there. It was all 3 weapons at once. The only major problem with this approach is, well, there isn't always one here. It is kind of a shame, but there isn't always a, I'm going to call it high level survival. It's great when there is a survival on basically Pluto or Vale. Neptune works, Saturn works. They all work, but obviously the higher level ones are going to be better. The one I have found the best is the level 90 to 100 Grenier. The survival works really well because you can stay in there for as long as you want. But this, yeah, from level 0 to 36 in one mission. Oh, that's tempting. But no. Still farming those annoying void tracers. I just saw Exterminate in the Vale. Can't be helped. The ASO, Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, is still probably the best place to go if you are leveling up one weapon. If you are leveling multiples or a frame, yeah, I'm going to go survival there every time. I've said it for years. Defense or survival, endless style missions are the best place to go to level everything up. As you can see, I'm now on to the last format for this thing, which is pretty much taken about 4 games. One cruise ship. Just one. Yay. But with that, I do think we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.